This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Today on CityCast Philly, Philadelphians love talking about the weird and bizarre things that seem to happen in Philly, and they love putting those things on the internet. I'm speaking with the show's newest executive producer about our favorite viral Philadelphia moments. It's Thursday, October 3rd. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Matt Katz, CityCast Philly's new executive producer. Matt, we're so glad to have you on the team.
Thank you so much, Trenae. You know, I just started last week, and I'm already feeling very lucky to be able to work with you guys on this great show and our great daily email newsletter, and really just get a chance to report and talk about Philly all day long. You know, how cool a job is this to just get into it when it comes to Philly? It's amazing.
Yes.
Right? So Trenae, you're a native Philadelphian, right?
I would say I'm a regional girl.
Okay, I got it. Because you were like Delco a little bit.
I'm a little Delco. I'm a little northeast, west, north, and slightly half New Jerseyan.
Nice. Okay, well, I've been here 22 years with your regional cred. And, you know, me being here half my life, I think, you know, we're veterans of this town.
Yeah.
And since we started working together, it's been cool to go back and forth with you about Philly, just like kind of bonding about this place, talking about stuff from way back and just, you know, sharing our similar experiences and how we've all experienced Philly. Mm-hmm. And you and I were talking the other day, and we started trading our favorite viral Philly moments of the last decade or so, about some of the weird and crazy things that have happened here and how they've ended up on the internet. And I interrupted you as we were talking about this because I'm like, listen, hold your thoughts. Let's save it for the pod.
It's so much stuff.
It's so much. So we could honestly like talk forever about it, because one little anecdote about some viral thing then leads to the next.
Right.
But we had to like pare it down for this episode.
Yeah. So we decided to both come up with a list of our favorite viral moments in Philly. Matt, the first item on your list is the Vine Street Canal.
The Vine Street Canal, yes.
Classic.
It was only 3 years ago, but it was an instant classic, right? It exemplifies how Philadelphians can turn something crappy, maybe literally crappy, into, you know, a proverbial and maybe literal day at the beach.
So tell us, take us back to how we even got the Vine Street Canal.
Right. So it's the fall of 2021, and there's Hurricane Ida, and we get hit here with part of this huge storm from Hurricane Ida, lots of rain, and a water pump at the Schuylkill River fails. And the river then overflows onto 676, aka the Vine Street Expressway. And the Vine Street Expressway, as you know, it sort of runs below the level of the streets of Center City. So the water just fills up the highway like a bathtub. So there's like basically a big bathtub in the middle of Center City, and the water is just sitting there for days. It looks... The color is disgusting. I mean, yeah, it looks like chocolate milk.
It couldn't be safe. It probably was not safe.
No way. Not safe in any respect, from like whether you touch it or go in it. You don't know it's lurking or floating underneath. Got to be maybe sewage for sure. So the first thing that happens is people start kayaking down this thing. So many questions. How did you get the kayak there?
Well, you know, I think kayaking is in the region's blood.
Yeah,
because we had
true.
the Boathouse Row, and there's lots of crew teams. So I feel like that one makes sense.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, then how about this? Friend of mine, Philly photographer Jessica Kunis, She takes this viral photo of a shirtless man in an inner tube, and he's drinking a beer, and he's floating down the highway.
Okay.
So that's a little...
Yeah, that one's out there.
a little out there, right? I mean, this region is in a standstill. People can't go to work. And then here, just Philadelphians are doing ridiculous things. I think it's mostly for their just own personal amusement and then for everybody else's amusement. Okay. And then the big moment, this dude gets on the 22nd Street overpass. He climbs a fence and he does a backflip dive into the highway.
Crazy.
I mean, we'll pull it up. Here's his backflip.
Backflip. Douche. Oh my gosh.
The sign for the highway for the exit Broad Street is like right next to where he ends up in the water. So it just visually, if you've been on that highway, as every Philadelphian has a million times, it just looks so bizarre.
But you know what this speaks to? It speaks to many different things. So Philadelphian, right? Doing a bizarre thing. But oftentimes we have a lot of flooding issues along that roadway.
Oh yeah. No, there's a much more serious issue here going on. I mean, there's climate change. There's the fact that our infrastructure is ill prepared for these sorts of things. There's the toxic nature of whatever's in that water.
Right.
But, you know, on the local news, people praise the guy for his form in the dive. So we still find positive things out of, you know, kind of terrible mini disasters.
Right.
The guy's name was Justin Myers, and here's how he explained what he did on CBS 3 and why he did it.
It's like, I'm never going to have this opportunity again. Stripped down to my boxers. I hit it. I put my clothes back on. I ran home, showered immediately, and then I went back to work.
Can I tell you, Trinae, I love that not only did he go back to work, but that he talked about going back to work afterwards. Because, yes, this flood was a public safety threat and a sign of the climate change apocalypse and ended up costing the government hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we found a way to laugh about it, and then we went back to work. Because we laugh hard and then we work hard in this town, right?
Yeah. This is something I would not do and not think of. But Justin, please be safe next time.
I feel like Justin will not be safe next time and will come up with something else to do that will end up in our TikTok and Instagram feeds.
I think it's so Philly.
Yeah, totally Philly. Trinae.
Yeah.
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Do you remember Hitchbot?
Hitchbot. Was that the robot that got jumped?
He got jumped. I mean, that phrase alone. There's no other city where that phrase has ever been uttered. Yes, it's a robot who got jumped. Two professors in Canada built this talking robot several years ago. It was solar powered. It was tracked by GPS. And it was an experiment on how a non-sentient being would interact with real people. And it would just stand on the side of a road everywhere, like in Europe, in Canada, with this mechanical thumb in the air, and it would hitchhike. It did this successfully with no problems in Germany, Canada, Netherlands, and people would just pick it up and take it places. It went to a Red Sox game in Boston, no problem. It went to Times Square in New York City, no problem. And then it got to Philly.
Golly. Oh my gosh. Why are we like this?
I don't know. And why do we think it's funny?
I don't know.
Because the national news did not think it was funny that someone in Philly stripped it and decapitated it and essentially killed Hitchbot. The national CBS Evening News covered it.
Tonight in the city where the American experiment began, a Canadian experiment has come to an end.
I mean,
that writing alone is just like, jeez.
Right. I watched all these clips from national news stories about Hitchbot getting decapitated and killed, and it kept talking about the irony of the robot dying in the city of brotherly love, and it played up this idea that even robots aren't safe in Philly.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like, come on.
And what year was this?
I think it was 2015.
Okay. I could see how national news kind of ran with this story because, you know, at the time, you know, we were a violent city. Although recently, in the past few years, those numbers have gone down. Thank God for that. But it speaks to, like we said before, a serious thing. And somehow it gets translated into this weird, bizarre, viral moment. This is so Philly.
We still obviously have a serious violence problem, but again, nobody got hurt. It was just a robot.
Right.
But yes, I think it was used as this way of like reflecting on Philly, except I like to think it just reflected on Philly because it's the kind of thing we think is funny. And maybe it wasn't funny to the scientists, but it was funny to us.
Do you think that part of the Philadelphian identity is it's okay to be aggressive? It's okay to be violent?
Yeah, I don't like to think that the violence is something that's okay, but I think there's a sort of aggression that maybe is accepted here. And then it's also something of a defensiveness, I think, where Philly doesn't take itself seriously about certain things that other people seem to take seriously. And then if you get mad at us for not taking that thing seriously, if you get mad at us for killing a robot, it's like, screw you, we're going to laugh even harder. Yeah, we decapitated Hitchbot. What about it?
Yeah.
So there's definitely like a sense of, oh, this became a national story and people are criticizing Philly for it. And then we're like doubling down on saying, yeah, don't send your stupid robots to our town.
Right. I feel like that aggression that we just talked about, no to the violence, obviously, but that aggression also could be used for good. And we see that expressed when it comes to, our Philadelphia sports teams.
Yes.
Right?
God.
Don't talk crap about us, even when national commentators have things to say about our team, even though our team could be, I don't know, not performing to the levels that we want them to.
Sure.
Don't talk about us. You don't have any right to talk about us. We're going to talk about us how we want to talk about us.
Right. Sometimes, though, when our teams do well, we flip the script.
And we still get aggressively happy.
Aggressively happy is a great way of saying it. So my last one on the list is an aggressively happy thing that we do, which is just climbing street poles. This city, for some reason, has a long history of climbing street poles and lampposts after winning sports games.
Yes. And we did an episode about the whole history of pole climbing in the city. So take a listen back to that episode. But
sure.
Matt, tell us the clip that you found that you thought really represented Philly in pole climbing.
I want to show one portrayal of pole climbing from the local ABC News affiliate in California. This is after the Eagles won the NFC Championship last year, and everyone went to Broad Street to party and climb poles. And I love the way the reporter here describes what happened.
Now at 11, the city of brotherly love is the life of the party tonight after their Eagles punched their ticket to Super Bowl 57, beating the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship. Philadelphia fans pouring into the streets. Police tried to prepare greasing light poles before the game, but this is Philly, people. They were still able to climb them.
I love the reporter. This is Philly, people. They are still able to climb the poles, even though the police greased them.
I was down there in that excitement.
Yeah, as was I.
I was the girl holding the balloon. I bought that balloon from Acme. I had a watch party at my house, and I just had that balloon in the corner for a couple of games. Then we won the championship, and I went down there, and I was the one holding the balloon.
Was it a green balloon?
It was a green balloon shaped like a football, all
nice.
Decked out in Philadelphia Eagles.
That's great. We love a pole climber in this city. And we even have, as you know, like this grease pole climbing competition at the Italian Market Festival. So this is like part of our pedigree.
Yeah.
My favorite pole climber in Philly history is a guy who climbed a pole on Broad Street after the Phillies won the National League Championship Series in 2022. And he then proceeded to catch and shotgun beers while on top of the pole.
No way.
He was so drunk, the fire department had to get a ladder to bring him down after the 7 beers that he shotgunned.
7?
You got to see this video.
He's high up there.
He's above the streetlight.
Yeah.
And the crowd, he's dropping the beers after he finishes them into the crowd.
Look at him holding on tight to the pole. Oh my gosh. He's swinging too.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm more impressed by his pole climbing abilities or his catching abilities.
I know.
Maybe the Phillies need to talk to him.
His name is Sean Hagen, and of course, he gave an interview after the fact to reporter Stephanie Farr from the Inky.
Hey, Stephanie has the funniest stories.
She does. She captures these Philadelphians. The reason why I love this guy is because of the quotes he gave in this article to Stephanie. First of all, regarding the ladder that the fire department had to bring for him, he says, I hear people talking shit. Oh, this dude had to use a ladder to get down. Yeah, well, you would too if you drank as much as I did. which is true. You can't argue with that. But mostly, he just credits the fans and the supporters, like any good athlete would, who cheered him on. Quote, it couldn't have happened without the crowd being so effing Philly, he said.
There you go.
What other city's first thought when they see a guy on a pole would be to throw him a beer? and then, Trinae, this will remind you of the Vine Street Canal diver who went to work right after his dive because Hagen said, I still went to work the next day. I was a little late, but better late than never. And then this is the kicker. Hagen says, people call me crazy, but that's Philly. We're wild, we're crazy, but as long as we go to work the next morning, we're good.
There you go.
There you go.
More of our favorite Philly viral moments after the break.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Matt, I really love these viral moments from Philly. I have to add one of my own. Sometimes Philadelphians, we decide on giving someone a distinguished honor, although it's not a real honor, but sometimes we give people the title of mayor of a neighborhood because they did something or said something. One of my favorite quasi-mayors would have to be the Mayfair mayor. You know about the Mayfair mayor, right?
Yes, I remember the Mayfair mayor.
Peter McLaughlin, who was living in Northeast Philly at the time, did an interview with Fox 29, Good Morning Philadelphia, reacting to the news of the partial collapse of I-95 last year. This interview that I'm going to play came after a tanker truck carrying gas caught fire underneath this section of I-95, causing it to actually collapse. And unfortunately, the driver of the truck, Nathan Moody, had died. Here's Peter's reaction to the news.
Dude, so I was passed out and I woke up to nothing but text messages, phone calls. I had no idea what was going on.
Everyone assumed that when he said he was passed out, that he must have been passed out from drinking. But that wasn't the case. He was on Fox 29 and he explained that he was just really tired and he was asleep. And he got all these text messages from friends like, yo, did you see 95 collapse? It was a big black barrel of smoke.
Right next to where he lives. It was like right there.
Right. Yeah. And so it was shocking, but it was also a little bit of his regional accent and just kind of like, yo, I can't believe, yo. And we did an episode about how to speak Philadelphian, and he's got the perfect accent. But anyway, he goes on and makes another statement that also made him viral.
Philly doesn't have the best luck right now. We lost the World Series, we lost the Super Bowl, and now we lost 95. So looks like we're just taking L's.
That comment, he put on a t-shirt. He printed that taking L's on a t-shirt, meaning like losses. And he told Good Day Philadelphia that he wanted to actually give some of the proceeds from the sales of those t-shirts to the family of Nathan Moody. So I feel like this is a perfect representation of, hey, we go viral, but we also, as Philadelphians, we have good hearts.
Yeah, take care of our own.
We take care of our own.
We also compare infrastructure collapses to sports losses. It's all sort of equated as just an L.
Right.
The accent, I think, is really what made it kind of a nationally viral thing, because I think a lot of America has never heard anybody talk like that. So he deserves the moniker Mayfair Mayor.
Mayfair Mayor. Okay, Matt, when I also think of Philly, I also think of seeing the Philly Elmo. Do you know Philly Elmo?
Totally, of course.
This is a classic character who makes an appearance during moments of joy and also chaos while joined by his drumline.
Yeah.
Philly Elmo will just show up and you're like, where did you come from? How did you know about this?
There was that massive trash fire a few years ago, and there's video of this huge trash fire, I think in Northeast. And then Philly Elmo's just cruising by with his drumline in front of the fire. Like, how did that even happen?
I can't keep it in. Like, why?
The incongruity of these things is really, I think, what's amazing. You know, it's like a guy diving during a flood, uniquely Philadelphian TV interview during a bridge collapse, and a guy wearing an Elmo costume leading a drum line during a trash fire. I think these are all extremely Philadelphian things. I see Elmo on my block like every 6 to 12 months.
Really?
Yeah. It is such a thrill, honestly, to be just sitting there on the couch. And it's usually later than it should be. You know, it's not 7 o'clock. It's usually 9:30, 10, right? And you'll just hear some banging down the block. It's a little faint at first. And then I open my door and I see a fuzzy red Elmo leading a drum line down the middle of my street. It's worth the $5 that I give my kids to run over and put in the bucket every single time.
Nice.
It's this moment of just surprise and delight. There's no warning. It's no particular time of year. I remember during the pandemic, I heard from 2 blocks away, I heard these drums. It was a little bit quieter out then because there were fewer cars, and the sound sort of carried. And me and my kids heard this, ran over 2 blocks, no shoes on, to catch the show. And Philly Elmo and the drumline ended up hanging out on this little block for a little while because people came out, and then we just danced and laughed, and we saw neighbors we hadn't seen since before the pandemic. It was just so cool. Just a phenomenal Philly memory, lifted everybody's mood. Also just weird. It was so great.
And
so great.
That is what Philly's all about.
Yeah.
Look at Elmo bringing people together.
Totally.
You just brought up something that I thought about, and that's just how we all connect with each other in our respective neighborhoods. One of the more recent viral moments I came across was someone named Stoop Man. There's a TikTok I saw from Rundown Buildings account that shows a Google Maps image of a Philadelphia man sitting on a stoop back in 2009. So again, a stoop is iconic to the Philadelphia resident experience.
Yep.
This is a place where you hang out, you talk to your neighbors, you just sit out and people watch,
Smoke a
help
blunt.
people parallel park on the tight streets.
Unsolicited parking advice
Oh,
from
gosh.
the old head standing on the
Yes.
stoop.
All right, go back. You got room. Go back. All right. So the video then transitioned to show that the same man is still sitting on the same stoop on the same block 5 years later.
From like just Google Street View, it's all pictures.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
from the Google Maps like car taking
Yeah.
images.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. Wow.
So it's the same guy, and this is 2017. Outside by the stoop. Okay,
Right.
let's fast forward. Same thing happens in 2018. Same guy, same stoop, same block. In 2019, he's standing outside again on the stoop as the Google Maps car took the image of the block. And finally, in 2023, which is like the last moment that was captured in this particular video, the same stoop,
Yeah.
the same man standing outside.
I love this guy.
Matt, what could we learn from this data collection of how Philadelphians live?
You know, every neighborhood has one or more of these guys. People who sit on the stoop all day, most of the night, sometimes alone, sometimes with neighbors, always up for a greeting. You know, you always get a head nod or a hello or good morning or whatever. Friendly, sometimes smoking a blunt, but sort of a reassuring presence on the street. It's eyes on the street. This guy is representative of the streetscape of Philadelphia and the city of Philadelphia. And I love him. Shout out to Stoop Man. Right on.
And this is Philadelphia. And Matt, I'm so glad that we get to work with each other and continue to tell the stories of Philadelphia and Philadelphians.
Oh, me too, Trinae. We have so many more stories to tell. I can't wait to learn more about what Philly's up to in the coming days and weeks and months. It's going to be so much fun.
All right, that was Matt Katz, CityCast Philly's executive producer. Follow Matt on X and Instagram at MattKatz00. That's Matt, KATZ00. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode about some of our favorite viral moments in Philly, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with the Friday News Roundup. Bye.